The ultimatum, the night sky above Earth looked calm, filled with stars. People in cities walked home after work. Families sat together for dinner. Children played games on their tablets. No one knew that in a few minutes, life on Earth would change forever. Suddenly, satellites picked up something strange. Huge objects were moving fast from deep space, too large to be asteroids, too organized to be accidents. Defense stations tried to track them, but the numbers were overwhelming. By midnight, the world saw it. The Galactic Empire had arrived. Their ships were not small fighters. They were giant triangles of black metal, each the size of a mountain, glowing with blue fire at the edges. The fleet covered the moon, hiding its light, turning night into a shadow. Panic spread quickly. In New York, people screamed while looking up at the sky. In Tokyo, the news flashed with red alerts. In small villages, children asked their parents why the stars had disappeared. The fear was the same everywhere. The unknown had come. Then it happened. Every phone, every screen, every radio, every speaker came alive with a single voice. It was cold, heavy, and full of power. This is the Galactic Empire. Earth must surrender. You are a young, weak race. You will serve us, or you will die. The words echoed in every home, in every ear. Soldiers froze. Presidents and prime ministers sat in silence. There was no time to argue, no time to plan. The Empire gave humanity just 24 hours to respond. The broadcast ended, but the silence that followed was worse. Millions of people wept. Others prayed. Some shouted in anger. The world was united in fear for the first time in history. Inside the United Nations, leaders from every country argued, "We cannot fight them. Look at the size of their ships. If we surrender, our people will be slaves forever. Our weapons are nothing compa. Red to theirs, one strike, and we are finished." It was true. The Empire had weapons that could burn entire continents. The humans only had rockets, nukes, and a handful of space stations. Compared side by side, it looked hopeless, but not everyone was ready to bow. Far below the surface of the Earth, hidden in deserts and oceans, secret bunkers came alive. Men and women in dark uniforms rushed through long metal corridors. Alarms rang, engines hummed, screens showed blueprints of ships the world had never seen before. This was the work of the World Council of Defense, a group that had been planning for years. They knew one day the Empire would come, and they prepared in silence, hidden even from most governments. Commander Alvarez stood at the front of one control room, staring at the massive hologram of Earth surrounded by alien ships. His voice was calm, but strong. "The day has come. We knew it would. We are not ready, but we are not powerless." A young technician raised his head. "Sir, if we launch now, the world will know the truth. There is no turning back." Alvarez closed his eyes for a second. He thought of his daughter sleeping in her small bed in Mexico City, safe for now but not for long. Then he opened his eyes again. Launched the first fleet. Deep under the Pacific Ocean, hidden hangars opened like jaws. Water boiled and shook as enormous human warships rose slowly to the surface, breaking through waves like ancient beasts. They were painted black, built with stolen alien technology mixed with human genius. No one outside these bases had ever seen them. In the desert of Nevada, sandstorms swallowed the night as secret runways split apart. Huge carriers lifted into the sky, vanishing into the darkness. In Siberia, ice cracked as silos opened, revealing weapons humans had sworn never to use, until today. The Empire did not notice at first. Their commanders laughed inside their golden thrones. "They will surrender, they always do," one said. "Humans are weak animals," another replied. "Their fear will crush them before we fire a single shot." But Earth was not surrendering. The 24 hours had only just begun, but already, hidden engines were roaring to life. People above still cried, still feared, still prayed. They did not know what was rising from the shadows, but in secret, humanity had made a choice. They would not kneel. The countdown to destruction had started. The question now was simple. Would Earth survive the first strike, or vanish before the galaxy even learned its name? Shadows of resistance. The world did not sleep that night. Cities glowed with restless lights as people filled the streets, whispering, crying, shouting. In some homes, families hugged tightly, afraid it was their last night together. In others, children asked questions parents could not answer. Above the clouds, the alien fleet floated like a wall of metal. Their ships stretched across the sky, blocking the moon and stars. People felt small, powerless like ants staring at giants. But in hidden places, a different world moved. In the mountains of Switzerland, a base carved deep inside the rock lit up with alarms. Men and women in uniform sat at glowing screens, their hands steady despite the fear outside. This was no ordinary base. It was one of the secret headquarters of the human resistance. General Harper, an old soldier with gray hair and sharp eyes, stood at the center. His voice was calm, but every word carried fire. The Empire thinks we are weak. They believe we will kneel. But we have prepared for this moment. Tonight, the world will see we are not sheep. We are wolves. Across the room, scientists and engineers worked beside soldiers. Strange machines, half human and half alien design, were powered on. These were weapons built from fragments of alien wreckage, old crashes that governments had hidden for decades. One young engineer, Lena Choi, adjusted a glowing crystal inside a rifle. Her father had died years ago when an Empire scout ship attacked a cargo station near Mars. She had promised herself she would turn her grief into strength. Now, as the rifle powered up, she whispered, "This is for you, Father." In another corner of the world, inside the Pacific Ocean, warships continued to rise from hidden docks. Their metal bodies gleamed with salt water dripping down, engines rumbling like thunder. To ordinary people, the ocean looked calm. But below the waves, humanity's steel monsters were waking. The Empire, meanwhile, celebrated. Inside one of their command ships, an admiral named Xylac sat on a throne made of black crystal. He looked down at Earth with contempt. "Pitiful," he said to his officers. "Look how they tremble. Within hours they will beg for mercy." Another officer laughed. "Why wait for their surrender? Let us strike now and show them who rules the stars." Xylac raised a clawed hand. "No, fear is a sharper weapon than fire. Let them feel it until they break." But the Empire was blind to what humans were hiding. Back on Earth, secret messages moved through encrypted channels. From the deserts of Egypt to the frozen tundra of Alaska, underground hangars opened. Pilots climbed into cockpits, their hands shaking not from fear but from anticipation. Commander Alvarez, from the Pacific base, addressed his pilots through a secure line. "Listen to me. The world believes we are defenseless. Even our own families do not know the truth. Tonight we will show them. We do not fight for glory. We fight for survival, for the children sleeping in their beds, for the farmers, the doctors, the teachers who cannot lift a gun. We are the shield, and we are the sword." The pilots remained silent, but their eyes burned with resolve. In one small control room, a technician leaned close to a young soldier. "Do you think we can win?" The soldier, only 19, swallowed hard. "I don't know, but I would rather die standing than live on my knees." Meanwhile, people on the surface began to notice strange lights in the skies. In remote villages, old farmers saw streaks of fire rising from the horizon. In cities, children pointed at glowing trails vanishing into the night. Rumors spread. Was it missiles? Meteors? No one knew the truth yet. In reality, the first human fleet was leaving Earth's atmosphere. 50 warships built in silence and hidden for years climbed higher into the dark sky. Their engines blazed bright, their shadows stretching over oceans and continents. The world's governments had kept them secret, but now secrecy was no longer needed. Humanity was answering the Empire's threat. On one ship, Captain Rachel Stone stood at the command deck. Her voice was firm. "Set course for orbit. We will face them head on." Her crew nodded. Fear lived in their eyes, but so did something greater. Courage. As the ships broke free of the atmosphere, the stars appeared again, only to be swallowed by the Empire's massive fleet waiting above. The human warships looked small compared to the Empire's giants, like sparks before a storm. But those sparks carried a fire the galaxy had never seen before. Inside the Empire's command ship, Admiral Xylac finally noticed the rising fleet. His eyes narrowed. "What is this?" he hissed. An officer stammered, "Humans." They are launching warships, dozens of them. For the first time, silence filled the alien throne room. Zalak's claws tightened. Then we will crush their hope before it grows. The countdown to Earth's surrender had not ended, but already a new countdown had begun. The countdown to the first battle between humanity and the Empire. And somewhere, far away across the galaxy, other alien races watched the broadcast in secret. For the first time, they wondered, could humans be different? The first clash, the human fleet rose higher and higher, their engies, nests glowing like burning suns against the dark. To the people watching from Earth's surface, the ships were only tiny dots of light, but to the Empire's command ship, those dots looked like defiance. Inside the alien throne room, Admiral Zalak leaned forward, his eyes burning cold fire. So the insects dare to bare their teeth, he whispered. An officer bowed. Shall we engage them, my lord? Zalak's voice thundered. No mercy. Show these creatures the price of rebellion. And so, the Empire moved first. From one of their colossal warships, a beam of pure energy cut through the void, striking near the human fleet. The explosion lit up the darkness, turning space into blinding fire. Whole cities on Earth looked up, gasping as the sky flashed white. On board the human flagship, Captain Rachel Stone gripped the edge of her console. Her crew shouted as shockwaves shook their ship, but Stone's voice stayed steady. Hold formation, do not scatter. They want us afraid, but we are not afraid. The Empire fired again. Another beam roared past, this time closer. One small human cruiser could not move in time. It was hit directly, splitting apart into burning fragments. Across the control rooms of other ships, crews froze as the screams of their comrades filled the radio, then turned silent. The first human loss had fallen, but Stone did not let the fear grow. Focus, she shouted. Return fire. Human weapons, hidden for years, finally unleashed their fury. Missiles streaked through the dark, plasma cannons blazed, and railguns fired slugs faster than sound. One alien destroyer took a direct hit. Its shields flared, cracked, then collapsed. Seconds later, the Empire ship erupted in flames, pieces scattering like sparks. The galaxy watching in secret gasped. No one had ever seen a primitive human fleet destroy an Empire ship. On Earth, millions of people watching. The live feed from secret broadcasts cheered and cried at the same time. For the first time, they felt hope, but hope came at a cost. The Empire's laughter echoed across channels. So they bite. Good. Then let them choke on our claws. 5 massive alien dreadnoughts broke formation and surged forward. Each one was 10 times the size of a human warship. Their weapons glowed red, preparing to fire. Inside her cockpit, Lena Choi, the young engineer who had turned into a pilot, gritted her teeth. She thought of her father. Her hands shook over the controls. This is for him, she whispered. Her ship darted forward, weaving between the giants like a blade. She fired all her cannons at once, burning holes through one dreadnought's armor. It staggered, wounded, but not destroyed. Suddenly, 3 alien fighters locked onto her. Their lasers cut close, flashing across her wings. They've got me, Lena shouted. Before the final shot could hit her, another human ship, an old carrier, slammed into the alien fighters, sacrificing itself. The blast wiped out the enemy squad, and Lena's ship spun free, damaged but alive. She gasped, eyes wide with shock. Why? Why would they? A voice crackled through the radio, weak but certain. Because you're the future. Survive for us. Then silence. The battle raged on. Fire lit the void. Ships exploded one after another, their remains drifting silently. But for every human ship lost, at least one alien giant fell. General Harper, watching from the base in Switzerland, clenched his fists. They are holding. They are actually holding, he whispered. But the Empire was far from beaten. Their supreme commander Zalak rose from his throne. Enough games, he growled. Deploy the second wave. Thousands of alien fighters poured out from the bellies of dreadnoughts, swarming like locusts toward the human fleet. Captain Stone's face hardened. Brace yourselves. This is only the beginning. For a moment, silence hung in the void. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. And then, the first true clash between humanity and the Galactic Empire began. A storm of fire, courage, and blood. Humanity's secret weapon, the void of space, burned red and blue as thousands of alien fighters swarmed the human fleet. They came like a tide, endless and merciless, claws of fire stretching from the Empire's dreadnoughts. Inside the human flagship, alarms screamed. Crew members shouted as screens filled with enemy markers. One officer's voice cracked. "Captain, there are too many. They'll overwhelm us." But Captain Rachel Stone's eyes stayed sharp. Her voice cut through the chaos like steel. "Hold your lines. Every second we last, every alien we burn, is one step closer to survival." Human ships moved in tight formations, covering each other with fire. Railguns roared, missiles streaked, plasma beams carved through the black. Alien fighters burst like firecrackers, but for every one destroyed, 3 more appeared. Lena Choi, her ship still scarred from the last fight, dodged and weaved through the swarm. Sweat dripped down her forehead as she spun through laser fire. Her hands shook, but her voice trembled with defiance. Come on, I won't fall here." Suddenly, one enemy fighter caught her blind spot. Its cannons lit up, ready to end her. But before it fired, another human pilot flew in between them. The alien shot, and the human fighter exploded instantly. Lena screamed, "No, not again!" Static filled her radio, then a dying voice whispered, "Keep fighting. You're the light they need." Then silence. Lena's tears blurred her vision, but her grip tightened. She pushed her ship harder, every shot fueled by grief and rage. Meanwhile, far below, deep under the Atlantic Ocean, a massive chamber trembled. Engineers in black uniforms stood around a colossal machine, larger than any submarine or carrier. Its dark steel frame gleamed with alien alloys fused into human design. General Harper's voice came through the command room. "Project Titan is ready for launch." Scientists glanced at one another nervously. Some had spent their entire lives building this weapon, never sure if it would see the light. One of them whispered, "If this fails, Earth is finished." Another answered quietly, "Then it must not fail." The chamber's gates began to open. Oceans roared as water rushed away. Then slowly, impossibly, the Titan rose. It was not just a ship. It was a city of war, larger than any human creation, stretching kilometers long. Engines the size of skyscrapers thundered as it tore through the surface of the ocean. Waves towered and crashed across coastlines. Fishermen miles away stared in terror as the sea erupted with metal. When the Titan broke free, the night sky lit up like dawn. Humanity's secret weapon had risen. On board the flagship, Captain Stone received the signal. Her heart skipped. "The Titan," she whispered. "It's real." A live feed appeared on her screen. The Titan's shadow swallowed the horizon as it climbed higher, leaving a trail of boiling water behind. Alien sensors picked it up instantly. Admiral Zilak's eyes widened for the first time. "What is this?" he demanded. An officer stammered. A human warship, my lord, but it's bigger than anything we've ever seen from them." Zilak's face twisted with rage. "Impossible! They are not capable of this!" But the Titan rose higher, unstoppable. Its cannons, the size of buildings, locked into place. The air shimmered around it as new energy shields flared to life. On Earth, people looking at the oceans saw the giant climb into the heavens. For a moment, their fear turned to awe. Voices whispered across crowded streets. "What is that? Did we build this? We still have hope." The Titan entered orbit, its engines blazing brighter than the sun. It aligned itself beside the human fleet, dwarfing them all. Even the alien dreadnoughts seemed smaller now. Inside, to the Titan's control center, Commander Alvarez stood with his officers. His voice was quiet but firm. "For years, we hid in shadows. For years, they thought we were weak. But tonight, we show the galaxy who we are." The Titan's main cannon glowed, charging with a deep, thundering hum. The sound carried even through the vacuum, vibrating inside every ship near it. Alien officers screamed warnings. Dreadnoughts shifted into defensive positions. Fighters tried to swarm the giant. And then the Titan fired. A beam of energy, wider than a city, tore across the void. It struck an Empire dreadnought directly. The alien shields lasted for 3 seconds, then shattered. The ship, massive and ancient, split in two, flames exploding outward. Pieces drifted like broken mountains through space. Silence followed. Even the alien fleet, even the millions watching across the galaxy, froze. For the first time in history, the Galactic Empire had lost a dreadnought to humans. On board her ship, Lena's eyes filled with light. She whispered, "Father, are you watching? We did it." But the Empire was not finished. Admiral Zalak slammed his claw against his throne. His voice roared like thunder. "So they have teeth. Then I will rip them out myself." The Titan's arrival had turned fear into hope. But hope alone would not win. The Empire's main fleet was still coming, larger and deadlier than anything humanity had faced. The first real battle had only just begun. The turning point, the Titan floated in orbit, its shadow stretching across the Earth below. People on the ground could see it, a moving star brighter than the moon. For a brief moment, humanity believed they could win, but the Empire was not shaken for long. From the darkness beyond Mars, more alien ships arrived. Hundreds, then thousands. Their shapes glimmered like black knives, forming a wall of death. The Empire's Iron fleet had come. Inside his throne room, Admiral Zalak stood tall, his voice echoing across the command deck. "They think this toy will save them? Then we shall bury it under the weight of our empire." Alien officers cheered, their claws striking the metal floor. The order was given. The second wave advanced. In the Titan's control chamber, Commander Alvarez watched the sensors fill with red. The Empire's numbers were overwhelming. His officers whispered, some in fear. One muttered, "Sir, they outnumber us 50-1. Alvarez's eyes narrowed. "Then each of us must fight like 50. The Titan's weapons powered up again. The hum was so deep it shook the bones of everyone inside. Across the fleet, human crews braced themselves. Captain Rachel Stone's voice crackled across the comms. "All ships, protect the Titan at all costs. It is our shield. And our spear." The Empire struck first. Dreadnoughts fired beams that could cut continents. Explosions tore through the void. 2 human cruisers vanished in seconds, their remains scattering into space. But humanity answered. The Titan's main cannon fired once more, slicing straight through 3 alien destroyers. Railguns from smaller ships shredded enemy fighters. Missiles streaked through swarms, exploding in bursts of white fire. For a moment, the battlefield became a storm of light, chaos, and death. Lena Choi's fighter darted through the fire. Her ship rattled from damage, sparks flying across her controls, but her voice stayed calm. "Lock on target! Fire!" Her cannons blazed, ripping through an alien fighter. Another came from behind, but her wingmate, a pilot barely older than her, dived across and destroyed it. "Watch your back, Lena," he said, laughing through the static. She smiled faintly. "Thanks, don't get killed." But even as they fought, the swarm kept coming. On the Titan, alarms screamed as a dreadnought's beam slammed into its shield. The giant shook violently. Engineers scrambled to keep systems online. One shouted, "Shields at 60%. Commander Alvarez gripped the rail. "Stabilize power. We cannot fall. Not here." The Titan's secondary weapons activated. Hundreds of smaller cannons lit up, spitting fire in every direction. Alien fighters burst like sparks against its defense, but still, they pushed closer, and then came the sacrifice. A human destroyer, the Valiant Dawn, found itself trapped between 3 alien cruisers. Its shields flickered, armor breaking apart. The crew knew they had no escape. Inside the ship, the captain looked at his men. "We're done," one whispered. But the captain shook his head. "No, not done. Not yet." He sent his final message to the fleet. "This is the Valiant Dawn. Tell my family. We fight for them." The destroyer turned sharply and charged straight into the nearest alien cruiser. Its engines overloaded, glowing brighter and brighter. Seconds later, it exploded, a blast so strong it tore all 3 enemy ships apart. On every human ship, silence fell for a heartbeat. Even Lena's voice cracked as she whispered, "They gave everything." And then, courage spread. Pilots who had been afraid now fought harder. Crews pushed past exhaustion. The sacrifice of the valiant Dawn became fire in their veins. Admiral Zalak snarled as another alien dreadnought fell. "How are they doing this? They are only flesh," his officer whispered, almost in fear. "Flesh that refuses to kneel, my lord." The Empire's rage grew. They unleashed their heaviest cannons, beams that split the black void itself. One struck the Titan, ripping across its side. Explosions tore through its decks. "Damage on Section 5!" an officer screamed. Fire filled the halls, men and women struggling to contain it. Commander Alvarez stood firm. "Keep fighting. The Titan will not fall." The giant's main cannon charged again, brighter than before. Engineers poured all remaining power into it. The sound was deafening, a roar that echoed across space. And then, the Titan fired. A beam of pure white light blasted forward, tearing across the Empire's formation. 5 alien ships exploded in one strike, their burning remains spinning into the dark. For the first time, the Empire's fleet faltered. Formations broke. Fear spread among their fighters, and humanity, battered and bleeding, pushed forward. Back on Earth, billions watched the feed in silence. When the Titan's beam shattered the enemy fleet, cheers erupted in homes, shelters, and streets. People hugged strangers, tears rolling down their faces. For the first time in history, Earth was united not by fear, but by hope. The turning point had come. But Admiral Zalak was not finished. His eyes glowed like burning coals as he gave the final order. "Summon the Imperial flagship. If these humans want war, I will bring them extinction." The void trembled as something vast began to move from deep space, larger than the Titan, older than Earth itself. The true test of humanity had not yet begun. Empire in shock, the battlefield around Earth was burning. Broken alien dreadnoughts drifted like mountains split apart, their flames glowing against the black sky. Human ships, though scarred and battered, still held formation beside the Titan. For the first time in galactic history, the Empire hesitated. Inside his throne room, Admiral Zalak slammed his claws into the metal floor. Rage burned in his voice. "How dare they? They are only flesh, only dust." His officers shifted uncomfortably. One whispered, "My lord, they destroyed 20 dreadnoughts. No world has ever done this." Zalak's eyes blazed. "Then I will show them why we are eternal." He raised his hand, and across the Empire's channels the order spread. "Bring the Imperial flagship." Deep in the void beyond Jupiter, something stirred. At first it looked like a shadow, so massive it swallowed the starlight. Then lights flickered across its hull, thousands of glowing runes carved into black metal. This was no ordinary ship. It was older than Earth's pyramids, forged when the Empire first rose, the Imperial flagship. Its arrival shook the void. Human sensors screamed as the giant emerged, larger than the Titan, longer than 10 cities lined together. Its weapons glowed like suns chained to metal. On the Titan's bridge, Commander Alvarez stared at the incoming monster. His officers fell silent, some trembling. One whispered, "Sir, it's bigger than anything we imagined." Alvarez's jaw tightened. "Then this is the test history chose for us." Meanwhile, far away across the galaxy, alien races watched in secret. The Council of Worlds, usually slaves to the Empire's commands, now sat in silence. Holograms of Earth's battle filled their chambers. A reptilian elder hissed, "They are fighting the Empire." And winning? Another, a bird-like noble, leaned forward. "If humans can resist, then maybe, so can we." But none dared speak too loudly. The Empire's shadow still reached everywhere, yet inside their hearts, something new stirred. Hope. The Imperial flagship drew closer, its cannons humming with energy that could split a planet. Humanity had never faced such power. Captain Rachel Stone clenched her fists. "We hold the line. Titan is not alone. Every ship will stand, or Earth will fall." Pilots responded with steady voices, hiding their fear. Lena Choi, sitting inside her fighter, whispered to herself, "Father, give me courage. This is the storm." Then the first strike came. A single beam from the Imperial flagship cut across space, slicing through a human carrier like it was paper. The ship exploded instantly, a sun blooming in the dark. Debris slammed into nearby cruisers, sending them spinning. On Earth, the explosion lit up the night sky. Billions saw it, and silence spread across the planet. But the Titan answered. Its main cannon roared, firing a beam of pure white energy straight at the flagship. The impact shook the heavens. But when the light cleared, the Imperial flagship still stood. Its shields shimmered, barely touched. Gasps filled the Titan's bridge. An officer whispered, "Our strongest weapon." And it only scratched them. Alvarez did not blink. Then we strike again, and again, until they break. The battle grew worse. Alien fighters swarmed like endless storms, their numbers far greater than before. Human pilots fought bravely, but exhaustion gnawed at them. One by one, voices went silent on the comms. Still, they did not retreat. Lena's ship twisted through the swarm, her hands blistered from gripping the controls. Suddenly, she heard a young voice through the radio, the same wingmate who had saved her earlier. "Lena, on your right." She turned just in time to see him dive in front of her, taking the hit meant for her. His ship exploded, the shockwave pushing her away. "No," she screamed. Her chest ached, but she kept flying. "I won't waste your sacrifice." The Titan shuddered under another strike, its shields cracked, alarms blared, smoke filled the decks. Engineers worked with bleeding hands to keep systems alive. In one burning corridor, a soldier carried 2 wounded crew members on his shoulders, whispering, "Hold on. Don't give up. Earth needs us." Everywhere, humans fought not for themselves, but for the billions watching below. And still, the Empire could not understand. Inside the Imperial flagship, Xylax snarled, "Why do they not break? Every other world begged for mercy long before this." An officer hesitated, then said softly, "Because they fight for something greater than survival. They fight for each other." Xylax roared in fury. "Then I will tear that apart." The Titan's cannon charged once more, brighter than ever. Power drained from every ship to feed it. Alvarez's voice thundered across the fleet. "This is our stand. Pour everything into this, hot." Pilots, soldiers, engineers all gave their last reserves. The Titan glowed like a star about to explode, and then it fired. The beam blazed across the void, smashing into the Imperial flagship. This time the shield cracked. A roar of hope echoed across the human fleet. But the flagship still lived. On Earth, people cried out, hope rising, fear returning. The battle was not over. The Empire was shaken, but humanity was bleeding. The next clash would decide everything. Victory or extinction, the void above Earth had become a graveyard. Broken ships floated in silence, their flames still glowing like dying stars. Human voices on the comms grew fewer, each one falling quiet forever. Still, the fleet held on, battered, bleeding, but alive. The Titan stood at the center, its armor torn, its shield shattered in places. Smoke curled from its sides, but its core still burned bright, and across from it, the Imperial flagship loomed, scarred now, its shields cracked, yet still monstrous. It was the Empire itself, ancient, arrogant, unwilling to fall. Inside the Titan's bridge, Commander Alvarez leaned heavily on the console. Blood dripped down his arm, but his eyes never wavered. "Status?" he asked. An officer's voice shook. "Weapons at 30%. Shields almost gone. We can't take another direct hit." Alvarez looked at the screen, at the giant ship blocking the stars. Then he whispered, "Then we won't survive by holding. We survive by striking." In her fighter, Lena Choi gasped for air. Her controls were failing, warning lights flashing red. But when she looked outside, she still saw Earth glowing beneath her, blue and alive. She clenched her fists. "We can't let them take it. Not while we still breathe." Her voice carried across the comms, raw but powerful. "To every pilot still alive, this is our home. If we fall, our children will live as slaves." If we win, they will live free. So fight. Fight until there is nothing left of us. For a moment, silence followed her words. Then voices answered, tired, broken, but fierce. For Earth, for my family, for freedom. And the humans surged again. The Imperial flagship opened fire. Beams brighter than the sun slashed across space, striking the Titan once more. Entire sections tore apart, flames spilling into the void. Inside, engineers screamed as decks collapsed. One of them, a young woman with burned hands, forced her trembling fingers to keep the reactor stable. She whispered to herself, "Just a little longer, please." Everywhere on the Titan, people chose to stay, to fight, to give everything. Admiral Zalak watched from his throne, furious. Still they resist. Still they burn against us. His officer whispered, "Their spirit, it does not break." Zalak snarled, "Then I will crush their spirit myself." He ordered all power into one final cannon blast, a strike that could shatter the Titan in a single hit. On the Titan's bridge, Alvarez saw it coming. His voice was quiet, but it carried to every ship. This is it, their final blow, and ours. He turned to his officers. Channel everything, all weapons, all power, all lives, into one last shot. His crew looked at him, exhausted, broken, but they nodded. They had no other choice. The Titan began to glow. Its core roared like thunder. Lights flickered across its scarred hull, gathering into the main cannon. The Imperial flagship did the same. Its ancient weapon hummed, energy building into a sun trapped in its claws. Two giants faced each other, their beams ready, their crews silent, their worlds holding their breath. On Earth, billions watched. In homes, in bunkers, in streets, hands clasped together in prayer. Children pressed against windows, eyes wide with fear. Leaders who once argued now sat in silence. The galaxy watched too. Alien races enslaved by the Empire leaned closer to their screens. Some whispered, "If humans win, maybe we can too." The battle was no longer just for Earth. It was for the future of every voice silenced under the Empire's chains. The countdown ended. Both cannons fired at once. Two beams of impossible light crashed together in the void, brighter than any sun. Space itself seemed to tear. Ships shook, debris spun, planets trembled. For a moment, nothing could be seen, only white fire swallowing everything. Inside the Titan, systems failed one after another. Smoke filled the bridge. Alvarez gripped the console, whispering, "Hold, hold." Lena's fighter spun violently, alarm screaming, but she kept control, refusing to let go. And then, the light cleared. The Imperial flagship, the pride of the Empire, had been split in half. Fire ripped through its core, its throne room shattered. Admiral Zalak's roar echoed once before silence claimed him. The Empire's fleet froze in shock. Without their leader, without their flagship, they faltered. Humanity did not. Captain Stone's voice rang across the comms, fierce and unbroken. "Push them back. Show them Earth will never kneel." The remaining human fleet surged. Fighters cut through the swarm. Cannons ripped apart stunned alien ships. Within minutes, the Empire's fleet scattered, retreating into the darkness from which they came. Silence fell. The Titan drifted, burning but alive. Human ships floated beside it, scarred, half destroyed but victorious. On Earth, cheers erupted. People cried, laughed, screamed with joy. Strangers hugged, families wept together. For the first time in history, humanity had not only survived, it had stood against the greatest power in the galaxy and won. Commander Alvarez, barely standing, looked at the ruined battlefield. His voice was soft. "We are not just flesh, we are fire." Lena, her fighter barely holding together, looked at Earth below, tears rolling down her face. "So Father, we did it, we're free." Across the galaxy, whispers spread. On worlds long enslaved, voices rose in secret. The humans defied the Empire. The humans made them bleed. Maybe we can be free too. The legend of Earth had begun. Victory had been won, not only for humanity, but for hope itself.